everybody. So I thought I would start a new series in 2023 where I try to keep you up to date on what I'm currently reading. The books that I just can't seem to get enough of, the ones that I want to finish quickly. So today, I'm here to share with you 3 books that I'm currently reading. So let's get started. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're safe, and of course I hope you're reading an amazing book or 2 or 3 or 4. The rain has officially stopped in Northern California. It is sunny outside. It is very cold, very, very cold, but it is at least sunny and not wet, and I am appreciating it through and through. So I hope if you were in part of the world where the weather was terrible that it has made a change a little bit. I know some snow is coming through the northeast, I believe. So everyone stay warm, stay safe. And of course, let's get some books. Let's talk about some books. So I decided this year I'm going to try to do more and share the books that I'm currently reading with you as I read them, so I can give you sort of my initial thoughts on them as I get started. And then, you know, when I do a wrap up, I can tell you what I thought about them after I finished them. And today I'm here to share with you 3 books that I'm currently reading. All of them come out in 2023, early 2023. I think April's the latest of the 3. And I'm enjoying them all very, very much. So let's get started. Get out your paper, get out your pen, get out your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able, please order these books from your local independent bookstore. You know, support these authors. When you pre-order the books, it only helps. And then also, if you're a library user, get your library copy pre-ordered now so that you can have it in your hands as soon as it comes out. I'm actually reading 3 very different books right now. But as I said before, I'm actually loving all 3 of them. So the first one I want to tell you about is Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. And this comes out in April from Pantheon Books. So all I really knew about this book going into it was this was a take on or a satirical look at the prison system in the United States, the for-profit prison system. And so the book starts with a bang. What we find out is that in this world that the book is set in, prisoners can choose to enter into a contract where they basically fight as gladiators to the death. And in the very first sort of prologue, we meet one of our main characters who is not expected to win a battle and winds up winning a battle. And then we sort of flash forward, and she has been in that role for a while. Now, what this book has done is it's a couple of things that are really, really brilliant. One, we are getting these characters, these gladiators, and their relationships, the sophistication of the prison system, and sort of how it all works in the beginning pages. I will say this book is definitely R-rated. It's definitely got some blood in its battles, its gladiators, and the author does not shy away from the brutality that this created system is all about, which kind of makes it even more brilliant due to the brutality that is sort of like ingrained into the for-profit prison system. But what also starts to happen as the book progresses is you flip to different sort of views of this organization. So, for example, you'll spend a chapter in the life of an ultra fan and sort of get the bloodlust of the public, okay? And then you'll be in a chapter with the people who are protesting against these battles and the inhumanity of it all. And then you'll get like thrown into other characters in other prisons and sort of how that's all going to come together. At the heart of the story, which is still developing, I'm hoping it continues to go, is a love story between 2 women who are on the same link, which means they are sort of like on the same team in this prison gladiator system. And they are very, very much like connected to one another. And I just know it's going to go horribly wrong, and I'm sort of scared, but in the same time, the writing is so real, and the characters and the story and the world is just coming together so, I don't want to use the word beautiful because I'm not sure that's the right word, but the sophistication of everything that's going on is mind-blowing. Not only are you sort of looking at a takedown of this idea of the for-profit prison system, you are also meeting characters, falling in love with them, and wanting them to succeed, knowing that they're flawed human beings. It's very, very complicated in its sophisticated look at the world. I hope that makes sense. I'm loving it. I am like page turning, want to know what's going to happen next. I'm totally obsessed. And yeah, I cannot wait to see how this all comes together. So that's Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah, and this is out from Pantheon in April of 2023. Okay. The next book I'm reading, I'm going to tell you right now, again, these are all very, very different. There is not a theme between the three. But the next one I'm reading is In Memoriam by Alice Winn. This comes out from Knopf in March of 2023. Let me see if I don't have an exact date on the back. I think this is her debut, if I'm not mistaken. I apologize, Alice, if this is not your debut. But again, this is another book that I am obsessed with. So I try to rotate between the three books, but every time I sort of get involved in one of them, I'm like, I don't want to put it down. So set during World War I, the book sort of starts at all boys school in England, and it's just the start of World War I. And we get introduced to the complicated relationships between some of these boys. And our two main characters are Gaunt and Elwood. They both are totally and completely infatuated, in love with each other, but Siri wanted to interrupt. But the other one thinks the other one is not into them in the same way. And, you know, that's complicated nature of that relationship. But what happens is Gaunt is actually part German, and his family sort of, what's the word? Sort of, I want to say bully, because I think that's the right word, bullies him into joining the military so that their name won't be brought in as German sympathizers. So he winds up joining the war and going to the front and writing letters with Elwood, who is still back in the boarding school. Elwood has relationships with other boys. He is in the school. He's very literary. He can quote poetry like no one else. But as he sort of communicates with Gaunt, he decides that he wants to be there. He doesn't feel sort of fair that he's not there with his friend. So he joins the military early and winds up on the front as well. I think they're in Belgium and France, as far as location goes, going sort of back and forth between there. And the book does two things. One, it's this complicated life of gay men at this time period, young gay men, and sort of how they have to navigate their feelings and their emotions and their presentation to the world, also in the world of war. But what is also going on that Alison's doing really well is she's giving us a sense of place. Now, I'm one of those people, I think that there have been a lot of books about the world wars, World War I, and I feel like World War II has been plucked to death. But what Alice has done is she's made World War I a character, a backdrop for everything that's going on, and sort of a metaphor for the ups and downs of not only World War I, but also these sort of complicated relationships between these boys and also the other people that they know that have gone to war and the losses that they suffer and all sort of that type of stuff. The language is beautiful. The characters are beautiful. I'm really investigated in their struggles, and I want them, you know, I'm always a romantic at heart, so I really definitely am rooting for the whole relationship to work in a way that I think will make my heart happy. But I know it's a war novel. It's definitely going to have a lot of heartbreak in it and a lot of loss. So I am absolutely infatuated with this book. I love it so much, and I cannot put it down. And that's In Memoriam by Alice Winn. It comes out in March from Knopf. Definitely pre-order it. Okay. And last but not least, I'm reading right now is I am doing a fantasy novel, and that is The Faithless by C.L. Clarke. This comes out in March as well from Orbit Books. Now, you may remember, I'm going to hold up the first one. This is actually the second one in a series. The first one was The Unbroken. I want to thank Orbit. They sent me this finished copy of The Unbroken, and they also sent me the advanced copy of The Faithless. And so it's so beautiful together. I loved The Unbroken, so I was so excited to be back in this world. And I will tell you, right from the beginning, first page, I was right back into this series, and I am absolutely loving being back in it. This is the story. It's hard because I'm not going to say what's going on in this book because I don't want to ruin book one, but basically it's about two women. Luca, who is sort of the queen. She should be the queen, but she's too young, so her uncle is in charge of the kingdom. And in the first book, it's her relationship with Tureen, and I hope I'm saying that right. That's how I'm saying it. I apologize, C.L. Clarke, if I am saying that name incorrectly. So Tureen was a soldier in the army of Balladeria, I believe is how you say it. I always... You know how you're reading something and you're like, okay, now your brain is not working. But so that's like sort of the main country. It's taken over all of this. And she was from a place that was colonialized. That's not the right word. Colonized? No. Taken over, basically, by Luca's... the country that Luca is the queen of. God, I'm having a hard time trying to summarize this. In the first book, there's a revolt and there's a rebellion, and Tureen is sort of back amongst her people who feel like she's a traitor because she's been part of the Baladarian army for so long. The second book is the continuation of the series. Luca and Tureen have a very complicated... They almost are sort of like in a romance in the first book. Then there's a lot. Actually, all of the three books that I'm reading now have queer representation. There's a lot of very strong women in this series. And it's all about politics and magic, and it's just so good. It's so good. So if you haven't read The Unbroken, it's out now. You can definitely get your hands on it. Absolutely loved it. And The Faithless comes out in March, and it is... I'm just devouring book 2. I cannot wait. And I know it's going to be a trilogy, and I'm going to have to wait for the third one, and it makes my heart sad, but I'm absolutely loving it. It's so good. So that's The Faithless by C.L. Clarke, out from Orbit in March. So those are the 3 books that I'm currently reading right now. Hold those up there for you. Do you all like this series? Are you going to like to hear about what I'm reading as I read it? Hopefully I have inspired you to pre-order all 3 of these books. If you are so able, that would be fantastic. And hopefully you'll like this, and we'll see how it goes moving forward. As always, if you are a return subscriber, I couldn't do this without you. Thank you so very, very much. I'm very close to 13,000 subscribers, so hopefully we'll get there in the next coming months. If you are new to my channel, please hit subscribe, the bell, the button, all of that kind of stuff. I would really, really appreciate it. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everybody.